The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is sponsored by Two Fat Lardies and Miniature War Games with Battle Games magazine, and also by the generous donations of you, the listener. Thanks to everybody for their continued support.
The Meeples and Miniatures podcast, episode 143, Star Wars Armada, with hosts Neil Shuck, Mike Hobbs, Mike Whittaker, and Rich Jones. This show was recorded on the 3rd of April, 2015.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. I'm Neil Shuck, and this evening we are joined with a veritable host of fellow podcasters. We have from Wales, Mr. Mike Hobbs.
Hello.
From Peterborough, just down the road from me, Mr. Mike Whittaker.
Hey up.
And welcome back from Enfield to Mr. Rich Jones.
Hello.
Yay!
Hello, Rich. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a long time.
Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you. So, it's been a while since we've just had a chance to kind of catch up a bit, and hopefully at this point in time you'll be your ears will be blessed by the lack of interference in this particular call. I want to say, I know some people have complained about it. Other people may just have turned off and not listened. We do apologise for the technical issues we have been having. I would like to blame Skype. I think we've had this conversation already, but I'd like to blame Skype 7 and the fact that Skype 7 doesn't work with some of our old recording software. So we've been desperately searching for some new recording software, and in the end we've abandoned Skype and gone back to Google because we have this blessed silence in the background. It's wonderful, isn't it?
That's too silent.
Except for the background noise of somebody moving his phone around. Yes. Right, okay, so this evening we are going to do a quick catch-up, because remember we've done too much of a catch-up recently on what we've been up to. We've been doing a lot of reviews and stuff, but we'll do a quick catch-up on what we've been doing. And then we've got to talk about a new game that's just come out, and I suppose this almost classes as a board game review. Since I know it's a miniatures game, but it's from a board game manufacturer.
Are you using that just as an excuse so you can buy it?
At this point in time, I have no opinion. Although the last time we discussed a miniatures game that was a board game from this particular company and on this particular theme, I ended up buying it.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, you will.
You will.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, first off, let's catch up with. So, what have we all been up to? Anyone? Yeah, would anyone care to join?
I think Rich should start.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, yeah. Because it's been such a long time since we spoke to Rich. So, welcome back to the show. And so, what have you been up to, mate?
Gaming wise, let's think lots of Star Wars stuff, because been playing Imperial Assault a lot.
Oh yeah, because that's that other game we need to talk about.
That's the other game you need to buy. We've been playing that a lot. It's good fun. I mean, it's got the two aspects to it: the semi-light role play campaign, which we don't do a lot of, and then it's the skirmish game. So we've been playing the skirmish game a lot, and the new Wave 1 stuff's just come out, so that's added quite a bit of interest to it. But that'll be another programme, I would have thought.
Indeed.
So proper wargaming-wise, as my wargaming friend Sean likes to call it, been playing quite a bit of to the strongest, both ancients and sort of mashing it up to make use of our War Master stuff.
Oh, okay.
Played quite a bit of Cock, the Chain of Command, which I've been enjoying. And
All right, so
yeah.
So you've been playing Chain of Command as opposed to Bolt Action then?
Yeah. Because I like it better, so we've been playing that instead. The club's playing Bolt Action, but Sean and I started playing Chain of Command mainly. And then I've been playing a lot of X-Wing. I did drop out of X-Wing for a while, but came back into it with Scum and Villainy.
Oh, right, okay.
The new faction, so...
I must admit, I've not taken a lot of notice of Scum and Villainy because there's an awful lot of the existing waves that I haven't played with yet. So is Scum and Villainy any good?
Yeah. It's good. It's another faction. It adds another dimension to the game, but nothing, totally new. But it's just that I'd sold all my stuff, so it was a good excuse to buy back into it with the new stuff.
Right, okay.
So that, I've been playing that a bit, but then Armada came out, Star Wars Armada came out, so obviously, been playing that a lot in the last week since I've been on holiday as well. What else have we been doing? A lot of board gaming. Battle of Westeros was a favourite for time. Spartacus. All these sort of cutthroat games.
Yeah.
It's so that's been me really.
Good stuff. Mr. Whittaker, how about you?
This and that. Bit of Chain of Command and I ain't been shotgun down the club. Been knocking together a few plastic shoulder soldier company Shermans, which have been quite fun to build and paint. Got sent to Seattle by work, which was rather not good from the wargaming point of view, except I did manage to pop into the downtown game shop in Seattle, shout out to the Ray Gun Lounge, picked up a copy of Forbidden Island, which is kind of fun. And I'm still organising a wargame show.
Oh, yes, Hereward. Yes.
Indeed.
Coming closer.
Coming closer. You can now advance book on the website. Griffin Beast have very nicely agreed to be our headline sponsor and donated 200 copies of their Hereward the Wake figure for the first 200 attendees. And trade forms and everything else should be going up over the Easter weekend. So by the time you hear this podcast, they will be up.
And the date for that?
That is November the 1st. In sunny Peterborough. Hereward-wargames.co.uk.
Cool. Always nice to have a new wargame show on the circuit, especially when it's relatively local.
Indeed.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I'm thinking actually, as the crow flies, it's probably closer than going to a Partisan for me. There's not a lot in it.
Certainly close if you live in London.
It is.
Yeah. Wales, not so much.
No, but then that's normal for Wales. It's just...
Yeah, but you know, got a premier wargaming venue on your doorstep, haven't you? So yeah.
I have, yes. So I'm very spoiled.
Yes. So,
Oh, come on, Hobbsy. It's only 3.25 hours according to Google Maps.
I shall be there, don't worry. I booked it off. I should be travelling down. Probably the night before.
oh dear, that could be bad. Especially if you arrange to meet up.
Yeah, it's my Scotch collection I'm worried about.
I don't drink anymore. However, for your
2
stuff...
million nights out with the GB lads, huh?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I'm sure I can find a stunt liver for the weekend.
Stunt liver. I like it. Right, and I suppose that leads us on to Mr. Hobbs.
Oh, yeah. Lots of sword and spear, fantasy and ancient. Lots of to the strongest. Again, with the same armies, usually, just to try out how it feels. Quite a bit of planning for, because we had a trip to Spartan Games HQ.
Yes, we did.
And we didn't take Rich.
No.
Yeah. Purposely didn't take him because we thought he'd just cramp our style.
You can creep. It's not going to help.
Yeah.
And what as opposed to the real reason was we forgot.
Yeah, we forgot. I blame you completely.
Well, you didn't take me either.
You were away somewhere. I think you were in Seattle.
No, we hadn't gone to Seattle at that point.
Shh.
No, it was... Yeah, but... Yeah, the problem was I couldn't fit Mike in the roof box.
That is true. And the other day I played Blucher for the first time, which is great fun.
Oh yeah, I've been playing Blucher too. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah, because you told me about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is what normally happens. Rich says, "Go and have a look at this," and then suddenly I'm buying it and playing it. I've been doing loads.
Good game.
It is. Blucher's great fun. I don't think it actually needs figures, which is
Don't need figures, yeah.
Yeah. But I've definitely got my painting mojo back as well. As over the last sort of month or so, I painted all of Imperial Assault, 2 lots of Plan of Fall armies, some Discworld figures, and some War Master armies for Sword and Spear.
Oh, I haven't seen the War Master stuff. Your Discworld stuff. You made a great job of your Discworld stuff.
I've got another 4 figures just arrived.
Oh dear.
So that's finish off my guards warband.
They are cool though. As I say, you made a great job of your guards figures. Really impressive.
They are. I'm going a little bit anally attentive because I'm trying to work out how much rust to have on each figure's armor. You know.
Oh well, you can have rust on everybody's except carrots.
Well, I'm also thinking that Agnews should have no rust on it because I'm sure the carrot would be polishing it at night for her. Make of that as you will. Well, I've done
She probably licks it a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Which might add to the rust.
Yeah, which is why I'm going to do carrot over the next few days. I'm determined to get his armour sparkling. I'm going to go for the silveriest silver I can find.
And then gloss varnish it to within an inch of its life. Is it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
The rest of them will be done sort of tin iron, or tin iron, I think it's called, or pig iron, by P3, which is a nice deep sort of colour.
Yeah.
And it looks really good for armour, but carrot is going to be done Miffle silver all the way up to sort of pure pigment.
Cool.
Let's get some silver foil. No, I mean not silver foil as in kitchen foil, but actual just
actual silver.
Silver leaf.
Yeah.
Well, funny enough, what mate I used to do for especially for plate mail was rather than actually paint it, what he used to do was actually polish the actual metal of the figure. I'm not quite sure exactly what I think he used like the side of a pin or something, but he basically polished it and burnished it. So rather than painting it, he basically just used the metal of the figure and then glossed it. So it looked really cool, but it just wasn't painted. It was. I mean, looking back, and this is through rose-coloured eyes of 30 years ago. But if I went back and had a look at the figure now, it probably looked rubbish. But there you go.
Yes, I'm determined to paint my metal to look like metal by using a non-metal paint.
Don't knock it; it seems to work.
Yeah, like I paint stones. Oh, I don't know.
Yes, you paint stone. Yes, you paint stone. Well, I'm there at the moment. Yeah, painting stone colour to look like stone.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was there and did that. Yeah. So I suppose that only leaves me. Right. Okay. So first off, very pleased to see the back of the scenery project. We've been I sat down and worked. Well, I basically went back and had a look at the blog entry of when we started this project that we had, where Dave Luff was. We were converting his front room, his lounge, into a gaming room, and he started building a war games table. That was the 10th of November, and ever since the 10th of November up until 2 weeks ago, every Thursday night, ignoring Christmas and when he disappeared off to Cheltenham, we've been building scenery. So it's been a bit of a long slog, but we've basically scratch built a whole bunch of, masses and masses of scenery. I mean, especially when you've got, like, roads are taking, like, 4 weeks, because of, having to wait for everything to dry and what have you. But it looks really cool. And we actually, especially with the fact that because I've been painting scenery, I haven't been painting models. So Mr. Hobbs very kindly has lent me a German platoon plus some support options, so I can actually play something. Thank you, Mike.
It's just the sort of guy I am.
So what have you been playing with that?
We've been playing Chain Command. I've only been playing a couple of weeks, but the whole point was to get all this 15mm World War II scenery done. Well, it's primarily 15mm World War II. I mean, the table will end up doing stuff with sword and spear and all sorts of bits and pieces. But we've been playing Chain of Command and having a fantastic time. I've forgotten how. I haven't played it since Derby, I think it was. But no, really, really, really good. Playing it in 15mm works really, really well. So having a whale of a time with that. As Mike said, we went down to Spartan in the middle of February. The original intention was to... pardon?
The original intention was to take me, I think.
No, that was never the intention.
Sure.
Neil said, don't tell Rich, because he'll only try and muscle in and steal our glory. And I went, well, fair enough.
You're a rotten lot, you are. Tell you what, Rich, we'll go next time. Leave these two behind.
I can probably go any time.
There's perhaps a kernel of truth somewhere in there. Thanks, Mike. Right, okay. So we are going to record a podcast about our visit to Spartan and what we ended up doing. The original intention was to go and play the new Halo space game. Unfortunately, we had an email a couple of days before to say the rules aren't ready. So instead, we went down and we had a tour around the place and got to see some really cool models, which we can't say an awful lot about. It was even like we had all this stuff, and then we got back and I emailed Ricky and said, "Okay, so we learnt about this and we learnt about that and we learnt about this. How much can we talk about?" None of it, or very little of it. Put it that way, because they're still not releasing details on the ground combat game, like what scale it is or anything like that. Other than the fact that it's already out there that they are producing a ground combat game as well as a space game. But we've seen some of the models. We actually saw a couple of prototypes of a grunt and an elite, and they're nice.
And it's probably time to shut up now.
Yeah, and we saw loads of renders and stuff, and they kind of went, they're really, really nice. So, the sort of thing you'd expect, infantry and Spartans and vehicles and stuff. But we can't say anything more than that yet. But it's really, really nice. So instead, we got to play Planetfall, which, Mike had already, after we'd had the interview with Neil, I think, Mike, you then kind of went and bought the starter box, didn't you?
Yeah, it sort of fell off the shelf into my hands.
Yeah. And there, but I held fire, and I thought, no, I don't need a sci-fi big battle game. So, having played Planetfall for the afternoon, funny enough against Mike,
and beating me.
I did.
Yeah.
That was most unusual. So, and that didn't have any influence in the fact that I then purchased the game. No influence whatsoever. Honest. But the other thing was, Josh, my son, really, really enjoyed it as well. And so we both got armies. The only downside being is that he chose the faction I wanted, because I wanted to play Dindrenzi, but he went, I want Dindrenzi. And I thought, rather than play the dad trump card, I played the dad magnanimous card. I said, okay, I'll let you play Dindrenzi. So yeah, got a couple of core helixes for for Planetfall, and it's a really good game, and we will be reviewing it very soon. So, other than that, that's about it. I'm still painting, but I'm still painting scenery. Funny enough, I know people may probably haven't heard the show yet, but on a recent show that myself and Mr. Whittaker recorded with Mr. Luff, we talked a lot about scenery. And after that, I went and bought the Normandy bonus pack from Nadrelvitz. It's very nice.
Gee, how did that happen, I wonder?
I don't know. It fell off the internet into my hand. Does that work?
That sounds entirely believable. You better hope this show comes out after that one. It'll make no sense to anyone.
Yeah, well, that depends how quickly I can edit. But yes, so suffice it to say, resin buildings, really, really nice. Really, really horrible as far as what you get, because you basically, and I've written an article, I've written part of my next minute's Wargames article about this, because you basically just get a bag of bits. No instructions, no nothing, just a bag of bits. And they don't clean the resin up, so you've got to clean it all up yourself. But the results, once you actually cleaned it all up and put it all together, they are stunning. They are really, really nice. So thank you, Mr. Whittaker, for yes.
Costing you more money?
Pardon?
Costing you more money?
Cost me a lot more money.
You're welcome.
Yes. So there we go. So that's what I've been up to. So yes. So play playing cock, and at the moment I'm in fact even today I've been putting more resin farmhouses and stuff together. So yeah, that's me. But playing games, rolling dice, having a great time. Yeah. So there we go. Right, so what we'll do, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Armada.
The eagles have gone. Britain lies defenseless in a cruel world. Since the birth of our Lord, it has been 456 years. What sins have we committed to bring this punishment to Britain? I speak, of course, of the Saxons. They came as allies, but now they seek conquest. The lands of the Britons lie ravaged before them. Blood runs red in our island. We need a leader to stand against them. We need a man to bring together the Britons in common cause. We seek a Dux Britanniarum.
Right, that's enough of that. Dux Britanniarum from Two Fat Lardies. They really are very good.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Star Wars Armada. Now, this came out a couple of weeks... No.
Last week.
Last week, yes. Yeah, cool. Yes, we're recording this on the... on Good Friday, 3rd of April we're recording this. So, yeah, Star Wars Armada came out last week. And some of us have already played it several times. Other of us have got it, and other of us haven't got it. So, the question is... those of us who got it, which is Mr. Jones and Mr. Hobbs, Star Wars Armada, it was a big announcement at Gen Con last year, wasn't it? To say, we're producing a fleet combat game. So they demoed it at Gen Con, and everyone kind of went, ooh, that looks interesting. Ooh, that looks nice. And especially with a whole lot of different movement mechanics and what have you. So, the question is, does it live up to the hype? What's it like? And what you get, because I think it's fair to say it's not cheap.
It's not. I'm not sure how much it actually cost because I had a substantial discount on mine. Moving swiftly on.
It's around 70 quid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose
Depending on what you can get off it.
Yeah, it's a typical fantasy price wise. It's a typical fantasy flight big box game, which depending on the game, priced anywhere between £70 and £100, depending on what you get in it. But it's around that sort of price. So yeah, so it's a reasonable price tag. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, it's the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
So it is going to cost a little bit more. What is it, and what do you get in the box?
Well, you get
Beats of joy.
Yes, you get everything you need to play the game, pretty much. 3 ships, 1 Imperial, 2 Rebel, which are pre-painted.
What, only 3?
It's enough. Well, okay, 3 large battleships plus about 10
squadrons.
Yeah, so 10 squadrons of X-wings and TIEs.
Right. Okay. So what do you get, and what size are they?
The Imperial ship is about 5 inches long. You say, Rich?
Yeah, I haven't got the actual thing in front of me. Yeah, it's between 5 and 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it an Imperator class? Imperator, is it?
Victory.
Victory
class.
Yeah, Victory.
Star Destroyer.
So Victory Star Destroyer.
Yeah, the one from the first film.
Yeah.
And by the first film, I mean the 4th film, which was the first film.
The real one.
The real
one. The real first film, yes.
But the proper first film, because the last 3 never happened. Anyway, so one of those, you get a Tantive, and you get the Nebulon B. Is it Nebulon B?
Nebulon B frigate.
Yes. Yeah. Plus loads of TIE fighters and loads of X-Wings. And as usual, Fantasy Flight games, you get cards for the ships, lots of extra cards for commanders and add-ons and so forth. You know, all the tokens, the measuring sticks for firing, and this really, really funky movement template thing, which we'll probably cover in a lot more detail.
Maneuver tool,
yeah.
I think is the correct term.
It's a bendy thing. Yeah.
A snake,
it's a really funky
like a snake. It's like those bendy snakes you used to get when you were a kid, if you're my age.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, you get one of those. Oh, and some dice. So, I mean, you can literally take it out and play it straight away.
I mean, I think the thing to say, I mean, you can play it straight away. It's a small game if you do, but it's better than what you get in the X-Wing starter set.
Yeah.
So when you first play the X-Wing, if you just stick with the starter set, it's a pretty sort of vanilla game, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't really do a lot, but the game you can get out of the starter set for Armada is a lot better, if that makes sense. It feels more like the proper grown-up game will be, rather than just X-Wing felt like you were just playing with a really cut-down version.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of getting from just reading the rules. There's also lots of rules in there which are good. You get the thick learn to play rules, which guide you through how to do everything. But then you get a nice thinner rules reference, which just gives you a concise précis of all the rules in very relevant bullet form. So if you want to find anything, it's there, and it tells you exactly how it works. They've sort
of gone down the Fantasy Flight track of having a book to get you playing the beginner's game, and then you're ready for the advanced game, and then you get the rules reference that adds all the other bits to it.
Yeah.
So they've done that with Imperial Assault as well, and the same with the RPGs, really. With all the Star Wars RPGs, you get the beginner's game, and then you get the book that will add more detail to it.
Right. Okay. So you got these 3 ships plus lots of fighters. Is everything pre-painted?
Yeah.
Well, the fighters aren't. The squadrons aren't.
Yeah.
The light sandy coloured plastic for the X-wings and a dark grey silver for the ties. But it's an easy fix. I mean, they look okay anyway because they're quite small. You get 3 on the little. You get a dial which is probably not about 25 mil across, I suppose, and then you get a little see-through stand, and each one's got 3 ships on. So each ship is pretty small. It's like 5 mil across, probably.
Yeah.
So they look okay anyway en masse, but if anybody's so inclined, they're an easy fix to tart up, as the saying goes. So all I did with my first lot was just ink them and then dry brush them back up for the ties, and then ink them and sort of add a bit of detail for the X-wings, and they look fine.
Okay.
In fact, the second set I got, I took more time painting, and they don't look much better than the ones that took like 10 minutes to do. So they're small enough to get away with either a quick job or no job at all, really.
Yeah, it's one of those things that they're small enough that you can really just be like an impressionist sort of style with them.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got all these. So you got 1 capital ship versus 2 capital ships, loads of fighters, loads of gumph. It's big fleet combat, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, so is it just like X-wing with big ships?
No, I mean that was my worry. I wasn't going to get into this. Even though it was Star Wars and I just buy anything Star Wars, I thought I couldn't really afford it. I thought, I'm not going to get into this. It'll just be a bit like Attack Wing, really. It's a bit like it'll be like playing X-Wing but with bigger ships.
Yeah.
But and that was my worry, but it's not at all. It's completely and utterly different. So everybody I think we... I got mine a bit before most people at the club, but then everybody sort of got theirs on Monday and Tuesday. So at the club we had like 8 sets worth out on a Tuesday night. But I mean,
I see some big battles going on then.
Yeah, quite a few of us have bought 2 sets anyway. But everybody said, well, they were afraid it was going to be just plain X-Wing with different ships, but it's not. It's just a completely different kettle of fish.
Okay, why?
Because it is, believe me. No, I mean...
That's no answer. Because okay, it is no answer. Come on.
Gone are the little manoeuvre dials, for a start. Okay. And, well, it's just the whole way you have to treat your ship, because it's got a shield value. So you've got 4 sides, and basically they're on a rectangular bit of plastic with dials built in. Well, once you've built them in, and then you spin the dials when you lose shields. So you've got 4 sides of shields basically, and
so actually part of the whole reason why you only get it's like 80 quid and you only get 3 major ships is the fact of these things are actually engineered quite highly, and there's an awful lot of bits to each ship. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the ship comes as one bit, and it goes on the stand. But when you put the stand together, you had to put 4 dials in for the shields.
Right. Okay.
And they stay on the stand, so you haven't got a separate card where you have to keep moving tokens for your shields or whatever. It's all done on the ship. It's done on the base of the ship. And there's mechanics in there so that you can restore shields, you can move energy you can spend engineering points to move energy from one shield to another, so you can reinforce the side that you need or hope you need or whatever. A bit like everybody was sort of hoping, I suppose, the Star Trek 1 would have been like.
Yeah.
Instead of just having a defense value, you can actually you have to manage your shields basically. So that's completely different. The manoeuvring is different as well. As opposed to putting down what manoeuvre you're going to do every go, you have to plot your commands. And depending on the size of the ship, you have to plot so many goes ahead. So think sort of Wings of War, where you had to plan your 3 moves ahead, but you're not talking about movement as such. You're not talking about which way you're going to move. You can give it different commands. You can give it a manoeuvre command, which means you can up or down your speed and increase your yaw, which will be giving you a tighter turning circle. You can give it an engineering command, which is basically repairing hull or shields or redirecting shields. You can do a concentrated fire command, which is, as it says on the tin, really, you're concentrating your fire so you get extra dice, or you get to re-roll dice. And then the last one is a squadron command, so you can move the squadrons at the start of the go rather than in the squadron phase of the go. And if you do it as a command, they can move and fire or fire and move rather than just being able to move or fire.
Right, okay.
So you plot your commands on these funky little dials that stack up. So like the Victory Star Destroyer has 3 command dials, so you have to set 3 turns ahead, basically. As where the Corvette's only got 1, so you can react easy.
Yeah. What I think is quite good with these commands is you assign them to your ships, and like he says, you can do up sort of 3 turns in advance, but you don't have to use them.
Well, you set your commands whatever you like. So every turn you can do the same command if you like. When you reveal your command dial, you can either spend your dial on doing that command, or you can buy a token with it, and the token can stack onto your ship card. And depending on your ship, you can stack 3 tokens, 2 tokens, or 1 token on your ship. In the command phase, you can use those tokens to do that command as well as the command on your dial. But if you use a token, it doesn't have as bigger effect. So you're banking them, which is good, but then they're not going to have the same effect as it would do if your commander gave the command as you reveal your dial. Right, but you can use the same command again and again on each turn, right, but you can't. Yeah,
you can't stack multiple commands of the same type on your base. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, you can only have 1 command token of that sort on your base.
Right,
but that's the command token. If you spend, it's hard to. It's easier if it was video. It would be easy to explain. So if you spend your dial when you reveal it, you can do that command, and it does more than if you bank the command as a token and then spend it later on. This is going to make no sense without you playing the game, probably. But you can use the same command token as the command dial and use both effects when it's your command turn as well, which is quite neat.
So basically, you've really got to plan ahead with this game, especially with the bigger ships. With the bigger ships,
you're planning ahead because you're sort of trying to figure out whether you're going to have to concentrate fire in 2 moves, or whether you're going to have to if you're playing the Rebels, you're going to have to figure out, well, probably by turn 3 I'm going to have got a bit of damage, so you're going to need an engineering command which will repair your shields or your hull.
Yeah.
And it is very frustrating when you get to that point and go, oh, no, because you haven't put the right command down. Which is why people, I think, you can bank your tokens to use at a later time, but with less effect.
Right.
So for instance, that's not going to make any sense. So if we do an example of the engineering command, I think, without looking on the card, I think the Star Destroyer has 4 or 5 engineering points. If you use the dial, so if you give it a command, and when you reveal your dial at the start of that go, it's an engineering command. It's either 4 or 5, I can't remember which, engineering points. And for 1 point you can redirect energy from one shield to another, so you can reinforce the front or the sides from the other 2. For 2, you can get a point back, right? So you can just regenerate shields. For 3 points, you damage, which you get rid of one of your damage cards, because you acquire cards a bit like X-Wing, so you acquire damage cards.
Well,
So if you've got 4 or 5 points, you can do any combination of those. So you can do the same thing twice. So you could regenerate 2 lots of shields. You could repair a hull and then repair a shield as well if you had 5, etc. If you've got a command if you've got a command engineering token, it halves the amount of points you've got. So instead of having 4 or 5, whichever it is, you've only got 2 or 3 because you round up.
Right.
So if you don't spend the command straight away, when you do use it, it's a less effect.
It's actually command and control. You have to make sure that you plan ahead, and that there's a certain amount of inertia involved. As far as it takes a while when you, depending on the size of the ship, it can take a while from you issuing the. I suppose the premise of the game is that it can take a while from you issuing the order to actually the crew carrying out what you need to order.
Yeah.
So that's the. So that's the premise of why your command and control works the way it does.
And then if you've got 3 command dials, so you're not going to get them through them very quick, it tends to be when you, like the engineering, you'll get more engineering points when you do that, as where the smaller rebel ships that can basically choose theirs every go, then you've only got 2 engineering points anyway, so
right,
it's a trade-off, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, so they're more flexible but less powerful.
Yeah. So I mean, you're having to plan ahead, but it's not like Wings of War where you're planning ahead and then you're locked into having to do that maneuver or whatever. Because after you've done the command phase and you get onto the movement phase, if you've given a maneuver command, then it's going to help you in your command phase because you can go up and down speed and you can turn tighter. But it's not going to lock you into any particular maneuver.
Right.
So it's not like Wings of War, or if you can imagine doing X-Wing and having to put 3 X-Wing dials down all at the same time and then hoping for the best. All it has really is a bearing on your speed. Right. Because if you're going at speed 2, you've got to move to the range 2 on your maneuver tool. You've got to go that far. You can't go up to 2, you've got to move 2.
Right, okay.
So the only way of moving more or less is to actually use a command to drop your speed up or down, or raise it up. But what the maneuver tool does for you is that it clicks. So it's got a section and then a rotating plug, and then another section and a rotating plug. So it looks like one of those snakes. So you can actually move it round, and you're allowed to put it down and sort of like figure out where you want to go. Depending on what speed you're doing, and depending on what ship it is, it tells you how many. They call it clicks because it's got a little click in it. It's got a little gear in it, really, a little cog.
Okay. That
tells you how many clicks you can do off a straight on that particular section. So if you're going slow, if you're going 1 or 2, then obviously you can click the first section. But if you're going at speed 3 or 4, then a lot of the ships will only allow you to go straight on the first couple of sections. So it's not until the end that you can start moving, but then you can choose to move it left or right. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really clever way of doing movement.
It's a really clever way of doing it, isn't it? If you've given it a maneuver command, you're allowed to add a click wherever you like. So that's the way that, the way that the Star Destroyer actually managed to pull off anything resembling a turn, because it can only move 2 anyway, but it can only go straight on its first one normally. But if you give it a maneuver command, then you could actually turn the first click, the first rotation 1, and then the second rotation 1, which actually gives it quite a decent banking turn.
Right, okay.
Because otherwise, they're a super tanker. They're not going to turn around very quick.
No.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. It does make sense. But it's really clever, I think, the way that you've got to plan ahead, but it's not going to have that desperate feeling sometimes when you're doing Wings of War that if you know you've done one maneuver wrong, you know you've plotted your other 2, that you're going to be miles away from the action because everybody's turned the other way and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more reactive because you can still choose which way you're banking, but it's just you've got to figure out whether you're going to want to increase speed or decrease speed. And that's where having your tokens So giving it a command so you can bank a token comes in handy because you can always spend that token at the time to increase or decrease your speed. So there's quite a lot of management in it.
Which is why you wouldn't
Does that slow down the game then?
No, not at all. It sounds like it should, but the way that it's done with the dials and the tokens and the maneuver tool, it doesn't. I mean, they're six turn games, and that's what they're going to be looking at tournament-wise and everything. Which most people are going, hold on, that's not long enough. Because in 6 turns, you probably haven't dealt out an awful lot of damage.
Yeah.
So the victory, if you're just doing a straight bash, as long as you keep out the front arc of the Star Destroyers, then the Rebels are probably going to lose a ship. You're probably going to get the Star Destroyer down, and if you're lucky, you might get rid of one, or you might get rid of it, but probably not. And people are going, oh, hold on, 6 turns isn't enough. But it's actually, the game is not like X-Wing where you're just going to win by shooting the other people off the table, because there's 12 scenarios in there, 12 missions, and you get quite a lot of points for the objectives in the mission.
Yeah.
So that's the way the game's going. It's going to be more scenario driven than X-Wing, where it's just even in their official comps, it's going to be scenario driven. It's not going to be, right, you've won if you destroy 100 points. Yeah, if you destroy the other person's fleet.
Yeah.
Which I think is good as well. So.
Okay, so if it's scenario and story driven, what sort of thing are you doing then?
Okay, there's 12 missions, as they say. I can't remember the exact terminology, but there's 3 different colours, and each one's slightly different slant on it. Sort of like a genre of missions. So what you both do, both opponents choose 3 and before the game, and then you work out who's got initiative, which normally you'd expect people probably to build if it's a 300-point battle. Or it's going to start out 180 points, which you can just about get out of the starter set. Well, you can get out of the starter set if you use everything. So you got your 180 points. Most people probably would have spent it, but it's the one with the least amount actually has the initiative, or if you both spend the full points, it's randomly determined. So you both choose 3 missions out of the 12. The person with initiative, the other person then takes their 3 missions and chooses one, and that's the game. That's what you're going to be doing for the game. So it's quite an interesting way of choosing the... There's quite a bit of discussion there because nobody's really played it outside of playtesting a lot, I suppose, yet. So the discussion is that because it's the other person picking the mission for the game out of your choice, then obviously you're going to pick the best 3 missions for your side.
Yeah.
So they're going to end up always picking one that's your side's going to be good at. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, we sat down the other day and we said, right, these are the best 3 for the Imperials, these are the best 3 for the Rebels. Out of the best 3 for the Imperials, the Rebel player's going to be an absolute loony if they pick this one and this one. So you're probably always going to end up playing this one. And the same with the other side as well. There's a couple of Rebel missions that as it stands at the moment, before the next wave comes out, when you don't know that's going to add to it. But at the moment, the Imperial player's only going to really be left with a choice of 1 or 2 of the missions, I think. And the same with the Rebel player.
Right.
But I suspect that's the only gripe that people have had so far, really.
I was just going to say, I suppose the thing is because the player who spends the least amount of points gets to choose the mission, that's going to have an effect because you might have one that's better for your side, but you may not have enough points to actually fulfill that.
Yeah, but then you're going to be picking them. The thing is, you're always going to be picking the other player's best 3 out of the other player's best 3, which I suppose is to keep it from somebody having initiative and then getting the mission that is best for them as well, isn't it? So And I think when the meta changes, as they say, when the other waves come out, then things will even out, and some of the missions that at the moment the Imperial player would not want to go anywhere near, the missions where you're scooting around the board trying to pick up objectives, then the ships that they're going to get in the next wave will probably mean that they can do that. As where at the moment the thought of the Star Destroyer trying to get round the board quickly picking up tokens is not a very sort of enjoyable thought, really, if you're an Imperial player.
No, because it's a big lumbering thing, and I dare say it's a case of the fighters can't. The
fighters can't do it. Yeah. On the other hand, though, there's also some of the missions for that the Imperials would want to use, like target ships. You know, one ship's worth twice. You've got an objective ship you've got to take out, and for the Rebels, having the objective ship as the Star Destroyer and having to take it out as the game is not going to be their first choice at the moment either.
No.
But when they get bigger ships, then obviously that'll change, I think. So I think really what people got to get into their heads that the 12 missions that are there are the 12 missions that are going to be there forever. I mean, we'll probably get ones added to them once the expansions come out. But those 12 missions are going to be aimed at playing the full 400-point game when the other two waves have come out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, as I say, they are future-proofing it, aren't they? Yeah, it's very much a case of because Fantasy Flight are such a company that they do take the long-term view, and obviously, I mean, they've already announced Wave 1 models, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean that's supposed to be out fairly soon. It's on the boat. Wave 1 is, and Wave 2 is not supposed to be too far. Pardon me, too far behind.
Yeah, so what we're getting? So can we remember what we're getting in Wave 1?
Wave 1, you're getting a bigger Rebel assault ship. The big bulbous one.
Oh, the Mon Calamari cruiser. Sort of thing.
Yeah. And then you're getting some other fighter squadrons. So you're going to get, I think you're going to get Y wings and A wings, as well as other special squadrons. With named, because at the moment you got Luke is a special squadron, his squadrons, and that has abilities, and then you got Hal Runner as the TIE fighter special squadron, and that has abilities, but all the others bog standard. And you've only got TIEs and X-wings. So the first live expansions for the fighters are going to bring in, off the top of my head, although the X-wings are bombers, light bombers anyway in the game, I suppose. And then I think you've got TIE bombers and interceptors. I can't remember.
I can tell you now. I've actually got the list.
Oh, you got the website in front of you.
I was looking at the.
So you get the Assault Figure Mark II, the Gladiator class Star Destroyer, Rebel fighter squadrons, A-wings, B-wings, X-wings, and Y-wings, which I've got on order. Imperial fighter squadrons.
B-wings. All those B-wings look cool.
TIE Advance, TIE Interceptor, TIE Bombers, TIE Fighters. Obviously more dice, which we haven't discussed yet.
Oh yeah, that's
so the fighters.
That Gladiator cast Star Destroyer looks a bit vicious.
Yeah, they do look good. I mean, you're going to want them, I think, if you've got the base game. Wave 2, I can't remember the big ships, but you get sort of like they're doing the Millennium Falcon, they're doing the Slave 1, IG 88 1, the whatever 1000. They're doing them as squadron bases, which is really cool, I think. So it'll just be a squadron, but it'll be the Millennium Falcon squadron base with its own little group.
I just found the announcement from Gamma. So they're doing a rogues and villains faction, an Imperial class Star Destroyer, the Mon Calamari frigate, Imperial Raider, which is the big ship that they're just releasing for X-Wing.
But in this game, it'll be the smaller one, won't it?
Yeah. And so they're doing the Mon Calamari frigate and the Mon Calamari cruiser. So they're doing the smaller Mon Calamari.
So yeah, in the end, the scenarios all even out, I think. So
we discussed squadron jet and then combat.
Right. Oh, we haven't even. We did the movement on the big ships, didn't we?
Yeah.
So what the games, you get a command phase, and that's where you reveal your dial and you do your command bits, and then you do your ship phase, which is where you're attacking and moving. In Armada, you attack first, then you move, which is different from X-Wing. Again, it's got the mechanics are different because you alternate ships. So the person with initiative activates the ship, and then after that's finished, the opponent activates the ship. So you go backwards and forwards. It's not based on pilot skill or initiative rating or whatever. You can choose which ship you activate next, and it's alternating activations, which again is very different from X-Wing. But you attack and then you move. So when you're attacking, you're allowed to attack out of. So if you can imagine your ship's base is a rectangle, and then it's got arcs of fire, which are different for each ship, but they radiate from the middle outwards at 45 degrees ish. So if you think of a cross going through your rectangle, you can imagine, but some of them are actually different depending on the ship and the armament. So you've got 4 hull zones that you can fire out of, and they've all got a rating of different coloured dice. So you've got black dice, you've got blue dice, and you've got red dice.
For those of us who are X-Wing virgins, I assume these are just like the dice we were using in Age of Empire.
No.
Does the dice still work?
They're not like X-Wing either. So, and the 3 different colours, basically, you can use different amounts of them at different ranges. So at extreme range, you're going to say if your hull section can throw 2 blue dice and 3 red dice, then at short to medium range they'll be able to throw all 5 dice. At long range they can only roll their red dice, so they're only going to be rolling 3 dice. So that's how they differentiated the range.
Right. Okay. So, and I suppose it's the classic thing of because it's Fantasy Flight. You've got all these different icons on the dice, so varying chances depending on.
So the black dice has got a crit and a critical hit and a hit on some. Very few blanks, if any. Without looking, I can't remember. The blue dice always does something, but they've added. They've got a hit, they've got a critical hit, and then they've got a symbol that they're calling accuracy. But in Armada, you're only ever going to get 1 critical hit, no matter how many critical hit signs you throw. The first damage that gets through the shields and causes a card to be put onto the ship, a damage card. If you've thrown a critical hit sign, the first card will be a critical hit. So you use the other side of the card, tells you what the damage is. You can never cause more than 1, though. Like in X-Wing, you could do 3 criticals. You can't in Armada. It'll only ever be the 1. But they are nasty. If the critical hits are nasty.
But defense is quite nice as well, the way they handle the defenders, actually, because in everything else, the defenders get to roll dice and you basically do opposed dice, don't you?
Yeah.
This is different. You have these tokens.
Which is something we always like saving throws because it gives you something to do. But in this, every ship's got a big ship, and some of the squadrons, but only the special ones, have got defense tokens that you can spend each turn. And there's 3 different. Well, at the moment there's four different sorts. So there's one that gets rid of everything, but the only person that's got that at the moment is Hal in a squadron. So the token just negates the attack full stop. You can brace, which means you take half the damage. you can redirect, which means you can take some damage on the hull, the target hull, but then when you run out of shields, you can redirect it to a shield either side, the hull sector either side of the target. So you can redirect damage. And then there's evade, which will, at long range, lets you just ignore one damage. At medium range, lets you make the opponent roll one of the dice again, which obviously might come out worse. And at short range, that doesn't do anything. So although you're not rolling to hit, you can spend your tokens. So again, you've got to think, well, am I going to spend it now? Am I going to be hit again? Blah, blah, blah. But the accuracy that the attacker's throwing, so if they roll the dice and it comes up with the accuracy sign, they can negate one of your tokens. So they can actually, for that attack, you can't use a token. So if somebody rolls, if you've got 3 defense tokens, 1 evade and 2 braces, if somebody rolls 2 accuracy signs, they can say, well, you can't use that or that token and that token.
And these tokens are great because they start off on a green side. As soon as you use them to defend yourself, you flip them over to red, which counts as being exhausted. And if you use it again that turn, you've lost a token for the rest of the game.
Yeah. So you get replenished at the end of the turn, you turn your tokens back to green. But if you use a red one, which you're allowed to, it then goes back in the box.
Yeah.
So it's a last-ditch sort of effort. So to begin with, I was thinking, I'm going to really miss saving throws because I like saving throws. But these, it works perfectly. And it's another way of managing your resources as well, I think. Because if you know you're going to be hit quite a few times, and somebody's just hit you once, or no, say if 3 hits got through, you think, well, I could use my redirect and put it onto different shields or whatever. But then you've got to think, well, actually, I'm probably going to be shot from this go anyway. It brings quite a bit of tactical sort of thinking into the game, I think.
And of course, you've also got a number of shields on each side. So the first hit to go through will take down your shields. As soon as your shields are down to 0, you then start taking physical damage.
Yeah. Unless you can redirect
unless you
get a chance to engineer before anything else hits you. And of course, I mean, once you pass playing the out the box without any special cards or anything game, then you've got lots of cards that can affect attacks. You've got lots of cards that can affect the defense. Some ships, you can equip them with cards that. So if you do an example, if you throw a blue critical hit, then you can actually look at the top 3 damage cards. And this is good on as Pride. So you could actually take the top 3 damage cards, look at them, put the best one on top, which is going to be the crit that they have to take. But then the other 2 you have to discard completely. So even that, it makes think, why wouldn't you do it? Well, you have to think, well, actually, if I'm looking, I think it's the top 4. If I'm looking at the top 4 cards, and the good side is you know what critical hit they're going to take, but then you've got to get rid of the other 3 cards. So what happens if you pick up the 4 cards and 3 of them are really good critical hits? It's like, oh no, because you know they're not going to be in the game anymore. It's a lot. I don't want to say more complex than X-Wing, but you have to think a lot more.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more planning involved, and
right from the start, it's
a few more decisions
to
make.
Yeah, there's more to think about and more to do, I think.
Which, considering the fact that that kind of fits in with the theme of the game, isn't it? Because X-Wing, you're piloting a fighter, or not a big ship, whereas all of a sudden you're in command of a fleet. So, well, really,
and the important thing there being that you're actually in command as opposed to just piloting. So there should be more decisions to make.
And a lot more thinking ahead.
I mean, you're going to be playing. I mean, the base game out of the box, you can fit it on a 3x3, but the actual standard size 180 or 300 point or 400 points in the end when Wave 2 comes out, they're going to put it up to, is on a 6x3.
Oh right, so it's what is currently the epic playmat for X-Wing is going to be the standard playmat for Armada.
Then you've got a setup zone which leaves the flanks free, so you're always going to be able to sort of try and get around the back with the rebel ships. I think it's just the other thing is in 6 turns, you can't dilly about. You can't dilly-dally at all because you've only got 6 turns to do whatever you've got to do. Which is quite nice. It's even with the bigger. I mean, we played 300 points so far, and 6 turns. You haven't got a lot to. You can't do much messing around. I was trying to completely flank the 2 Star Destroyers with my Rebel fleet, and just ran out of time. Which is where the missions come in as well. So
okay, so
squadrons.
It's kind of going to give us a flavour of how the game works and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So you do your you do your ship phase, and then you move your ship. There's obstacles. So like think asteroids in X-Wing again. But there's different types. There's a debris field, there's asteroid fields, there's a space station, and in Armada, you're safe if you run over them. So if your template goes over them, if your movement tool goes over them, or your base goes over them, that's fine. If you land on it, then it has bad effects. Unless it's the space station, which has good effects because you can replenish. But they're not as annoying as they are not annoying in a bad sort of game way, but just. When you play an X-Wing and you just run onto the asteroid and oh no, you can go over them in Armada and not suffer anything. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. You've got your obstacles out, your ships are moving around, but then you've got all the little squadrons, and the squadrons don't have a maneuver tool. They've just got a speed. So at the moment they're either speed 3 or 4, or 3s for the X-Wings, and 4 for the TIEs. You use the other side of the range ruler, which is divided into is a movement range ruler, and you just put it down. You can move the squadron up to the amount that its movement points. So there's no maneuver tool or anything. You just put it down and dart them about, and you really do get the feel of the squadrons moving about. If you give them a squadron command, then each ship's commander can command so many squadrons. So say if you give your ship the squadron command and it's the Star Destroyer, it can activate 4 squadrons. 5 if it's got the hangar bay. Right, so anything within range 2 of the ship, any squadrons within range of the ship you can activate before your ship goes. So in this case, you can move them and then fire, or you can fire then move them. Now, if you wait till the squadron phase, then 2 of my squadrons go, and then 2 of your squadrons go that haven't activated earlier, and then 2 of mine, and 2 of yours until we've done them all, and they can only move or fire. They've got a zone of control, so once they're in distance 1 of each other, then they're in a dogfight and they don't move till somebody dies. So again, you sort of it's quite tactical how you're going to use your squadrons. You can't just shoot them off in front and try and get to the other ship because one well-placed squadron of your opponents can tie up your 3 until they destroy them. So to me, it reflects that sort of. You can use them as an ablative shield for the squadrons coming in. There's abilities in the game that don't make any sense at the moment because the other ships aren't out. So the X-Wings have got something called escort, and when you read it now with the base game, you think, well, this doesn't do anything. But what it's going to do when the bombers, when the Wave 1 squadron bombers come out, if you've got your X-Wings escorting them, the TIEs have to fight the X-Wings first. So they'll be engaged and they can't shoot at the bombers. Yeah. They've got to shoot at the X-Wings if they're engaged, if they're within one of them. So that you can use your X-Wings as an escort. Yeah. So they've thought it out really well, I think.
They do seem to work quite well. From what I've read, it actually has a feel of what fighters should be doing in a sort of fleet game.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else I've played, they don't seem to work. They just seem to be irritant.
They either do nothing, or
they do far too much,
or they're overpowerful.
Yeah.
In this, they can increase your chance of victory anyway, because you get victory points for any of the squadrons that you manage to kill off. And the TIEs are really good in a swarm because they get to re-roll. If they're attacking you in a swarm, if another TIE's squadron is attacking the person you're attacking, then you get to re-roll one of your attack dice. So operating in a swarm for the TIEs is brilliant because you get to re-roll your dice. The X-Wings just throw more dice. So
yeah.
And they've got less, and the TIEs have got more less points. So the TIEs have got 3 points, 3 health points or hull points, and the X-Wings have got 5. So the X-Wings can take out a squadron by itself. It can take out a TIE squadron in one hit quite easily. But a swarm of TIEs are going to take out your X-Wing squadron, which again is to me just is what you see on the films. Yeah, they're just swarming around and one on one, one squadron on one squadron. Yeah, the X-Wing's going to win. But once you've got that swarm going into you, you're in trouble. So you can try and get your fire. Well, you can try at the moment. You can try and get your X-Wings around the back of the Star Destroyer, which has got fewer shields, because then when you go in, you can do a bombing run. And again, it's not going to take out the Star Destroyer, but it's going to, if you get a critical going through with Luke's ability or whatever, the critical can have a really big effect on the next few moves of the game. So
yeah,
it just works. Not just because it's Star Wars and it's the Star Wars ships or whatever. It feels like the films, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to sort of getting on the table after reading through the rules and looking at the stuff that's in there. Again, it's the usual high quality we expect from Fantasy Flight. I'm really looking forward to playing there. Because it just seems well thought out.
Yeah. I think I'll enjoy the game anyway, but because it's Star Wars,
yeah,
it just feels like Star Wars, and it's it's superb. Yeah, but some games.
Well, it's always a bonus, isn't it?
You can play any set of rules, can't you, and put Star Wars stuff in it, but it won't really feel like Star Wars.
Yes.
But obviously, because this is been manufactured to be like Star Wars, and B, whoever is working at Fantasy Flight seems to love Star Wars as much as we do, as far as I can see. The people that they've got developing all the games, because they always come out feeling like they should.
Yeah, they got a good.
Not just the mechanics, but the feel. It's the feel of the game to me. It's just superb. It's just. I didn't want to buy it. I didn't want to like it, so because I thought if I liked it, I'm going to have to buy it. But halfway there because it was Star Wars, but. It's a no-brainer.
I was going to say, so why, so why,
because
so why do I need to go out and buy this game on Monday?
And you can't. Those two things combined, you won't get any better. I don't think in a minis game for the moment.
No,
I mean it's just all. But Imperial Assault, it's like it feels like the films. It's not realistic. It's not, it's not a realistic skirmish game. It's a game of the film, and it feels just like the films. The same with this. It's probably, if you want to, I don't know. I remember playing Traveller's version, ship fighting version combat system when we used to play Traveller, and I loved it at the time. All the vector movement and everything. You could probably, if you wanted a realistic space combat game, then you could probably find one. But if you want something that feels like the films, then you don't need to look any further.
Yeah, and what you said earlier, Rich, is this is one of the games that the box set gives you a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some don't, do they? I mean, you've already mentioned X-Wing. You do need a lot of...
Yeah, anything. I mean, Wings of Glory as well. I mean, that was...
But...
the box sets you can get don't give you a game, do they? They give you a little starter for each side. And a lot of the designer war games that are around at the moment, the box sets don't give you they give you a feeling of the game, but you're not going to just want to play that all the time. Sean was round the other night. He's a big Star Wars fan, but he doesn't want to get into another game. He wasn't going to buy this, but now he's thinking, well, I'm just going to get the one set because him and his son can play a good game out of the one box set. As where everybody at the club's already got two box sets now, because that gives you the two. Will give you your 300 points even before Wave 1 comes out, and I'm sure we'll buy all the expansions to get the extra cards and all this sort of stuff. But the box set in this gives you a good game. And I mean, that's one thing you can never say about, well, we keep saying about X-Wing. It was a boring game, really, until you bought more stuff, whether that was two box sets or whatever. There just wasn't enough in it, was there? So,
no.
But, I mean, as a gamer and as a Star Wars fan, if you buy one set, you're not going to be happy with just... I don't think there's the need to go out and buy two sets as much as there is in X-Wing. But you certainly want to... if you buy into the box set, you're going to be buying the expansions, I think.
Yeah.
So be warned.
And it is pre-printed, though.
And it is a board game, Neil.
Well, as long as you've got a 5x3 board to play it on, it's a board game, yeah.
Yes, because obviously, because of the way the licensing works, they're not allowed to sell it with a board in the box, because they haven't got that sort of license. They can produce one separately and sell it separately as a gaming mat, which is, I think, something they recently did with the X-Wing mats. But because one of the vagaries of the license, they're not actually allowed to produce it.
Yeah, they got away with Imperial Assault
in the base game. Yeah, it's strange. I mean, part of it with Imperial.
Well, it's not really a board game, is it? It hasn't got a physical board. It's got tiles.
It's a light RPG as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that so I'm sure there are ways and means around the licensing.
Yeah, there.
Indeed. Okay, so that's I suppose Star Wars Armada.
I feel that we haven't done it justice.
Anything else? Anything else to add?
Well, we missed out a lot of mechanics, but I mean that's not going to make any sense anyway, is it?
I think the thing that's different with this game is it does take a bit of thought, and you are asked to do a lot more than you are in a standard game of X-Wing. It really does feel like you're having to make command decisions in advance to fulfill your objectives, and that works. And the fact that it's scenario driven, and the scenarios are quite interesting. Again, it's not just a straight out let's go and blow up a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, because I mean it's not going to work, is it? I mean, but that's in the movies. It wasn't. If you just went head to head with the Imperials, you're not going to win, are you?
Yeah,
there's always got to be an objective.
Yeah, it was never about that.
You're trying to escape, or you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to blow something up, or you're trying to...
So it's very cleverly done. It's lots of attrition, lots of things to think about, but it's not just a standard, let's go and blatter a Star Destroyer game. It's a thinky game.
Well, it's not... People shouldn't think it's overcomplicated, though.
No, it's just not.
It's not. When you think about some of the board games, it's not micromanagement like some of the board games that we all enjoy. But it's not as easy as just slapping down your dial and going for the next thing in X-Wing either. It's.
I was sort of thinking not so much on, it's a mentally demanding game.
Yeah.
More the fact that you've got to give some thought on the tactics of what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And, try to achieve those without getting distracted by what the opponent's doing.
It's good. It's just like, I'm just trying to think of some of the games we've played. I've not been. I was actually just. I mean, I know I'm on holiday, so it's quite. Yeah, it's good to relax for me anyway because it's been hectic at work. But I haven't played. Well, I suppose Imperial Assault to an extent, but after playing a couple of games Armada, I was like, right, how can I get a game tomorrow? Who's going to want to play? Yeah, it was. I felt a bit sad because I was excited that I was going to get to play again. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's that sort of game. It's not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's sort of, I'm looking forward to the next time we play. I'll go to an X-Wing comp tomorrow, and I'm just thinking, I wish I could play Armada instead. not that it's a better game, just that
it's different.
I just keep thinking, I've got a new idea. This is what I can do, or this is what I want to try. Or
just check in the back of the car. I'm sure somebody will want to play with it.
Sorry.
Just check in the back of the car. I'm sure if you turn up there and go, who wants to play this instead? I'm sure.
I'm going to chuck it in the car and we're going to play afterwards. I think so. It's all right. So it's good. I've taken with the friend, neighbour, and I are going on a surf trip on Sunday, so we're away for a few days. So I'm going to stick it in the car as well because he came round and because he's a big Star Wars fan, but he's never played any games. So, he came round and saw Imperial Assault one day. He said, I wouldn't mind trying that. So now he plays that. And he came round the other day when the first time we were trying Armada out, and he got into that and learned the rules. Now he's going, when can we play that game again? Much to the disgust of his wife. I tell you. Classic moment. He came round, and she was out with the little girl. And he still wasn't back when they came back because he'd been playing around all afternoon at our house with Armada. And they've got a key because they look after the house and whatever. So she came into the house with the little girl to try and find Daddy, to walk in and find Daddy, me, and another friend all round the table playing Armada. And it was just at the time when the Star Destroyer was about to go. And I've got a little... On one of my old iPhones, I've still got the Star Wars soundboard app that you can't get anymore. And we also we had a compilation background music of movie soundtrack going on anyway through the sound system. And then Aya was sitting there with this app, and I was playing rolling dice. He's making the X-Wing sounds and things, and she just walked in. And the look on her face was priceless. It was that classic, I've heard about these sort of things, but I never thought I'd get to see it moment. And her jaw just dropped, she just shook her head, and she walked out.
One of us,
yeah. That's where the little girl, she's like 6. I'm going to stop and roll some dice with Daddy.
It's the point where you discover that your partner really is still.
Oh, she just blames
me. Right, married to Star Wars, no?
He just blames me for everything. It's all right. He started skateboarding again. Started playing games. It's all my fault.
So here's a question: Does buying the wife Imperial Assault or something for a birthday present count as breaking the pledge?
Not if you don't want it
to. Good answer.
I think Mike's answer is that we're coming to April, therefore the
pledge. What's the pledge? I missed out on this.
The pledge was not to get into any new scales, periods,
Oh yeah, has it?
Or games.
What sort of pledge is that?
Yeah. It was. I didn't sign up for it personally. I thought,
It was a finish the stuff you've got pledge.
Yeah.
It was a desperate attempt to try and actually kind of think, well, okay, let's
what
stop
sort of
buying
gamers
stuff and
would we
actually
be if we did
let's
that?
paint something.
Well, exactly, which is why I thought.
We'd get thrown out of the gaming guild if that was the.
Yes. As far as I'm concerned, any New Year's resolution lasts January tops. But I mean, Neil and Mike seem to think it's forever. I'm sorry, but it's like a puppy.
Yeah, if you haven't given it back before March.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's like a puppy?
That's the whole thing, isn't it?
You're just into making work for my wife who's a vet, aren't you?
That's all right. In Japan you can rent out dogs for you can rent out pets.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell.
But
Mr.
who'd
Hobbs is
even
a
want
cat
to rent a
person,
cat?
can't
I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, I can't see the cat letting you.
We are just starved to our cats.
Well, I was going to say I remember seeing that card. Yes. Yeah, dogs
Dog,
cat
he
staff.
pets me and feeds me, he must be God. Cat, he pets me and feeds me, I must be God.
I can't help thinking at some point we have digressed and
No.
I don't think
and there
anybody's
is an
listening
edit
by
point
now.
somewhere in there.
You should leave it in anyway, just to see.
But Armada, another fine game.
Unless you're a cat.
Unless
9 out of 10 cats said.
This is degenerating rapidly.
Indeed. 9 out of 10 cats who expressed a preference said Fantasy Flight are really good at producing Star Wars games.
I don't think we missed anything
No,
important. We were just
it was alright.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's one of these things of we can come back and talk about it once we played it a bit more, and some of us have. I mean, I'm sure if nothing else, I'll probably get to get to play a demo of it at the UK Games Expo in a few weeks.
Well, I mean, I'm at Expo from Thursday night,
depending on what's going on. Right, okay. What to say? That's relatively around the corner from me, and I am going on Saturday anyway. So I'm there all day on Saturday. So I'm sure we can meet up at some point. Cool. Okay. Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. And as I say, it's one of those things. We can get a game and we can come back and make more comments and what have you, and talk about it in future catch-ups. Great. Well, it's been great to have everybody together. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you especially to Rich for coming back and
without whom we wouldn't have had a show. Let's face it.
Star Wars Armada and trying to convince us all that
we've got to do Imperial Assault.
Indeed,
I like it even better.
And it's. I think it's a great. That's one of the things of it's on the list. Just for listeners' benefits, we currently have a list. Which is growing rapidly. I think we're up to about 8 or 9 shows.
About that.
Mr. Hobbs. It's something like that. Yeah. We've had a couple of cancellations. We were hoping to chat to Westwind last week, and unfortunately that got canned at the last minute. So we got to chat to them. And so we got to do Imperial Assault. We're going to do Planetfall. We're hoping to speak to Sam Mustafa in a couple of weeks about Blucher, and we got loads and loads of interviews to do with all different people. So lots and lots and lots on. I think that's about a wrap.
Seems like it to me.
Anyone got?
No,
not till next time.
Anyone get anything else to add? Great. Okay then. Well, in that case, all we mostly said is thanks to everyone for coming on the show. No, it's been great to have everyone back together. It's been a few weeks since we last had a chance to, or a few months in one case since we've last had a chance to chat. So it's been great to have everyone on. Thanks everyone for spending the time. Thank you all for listening. So until next time,
bye.
Happy gaming, and we'll see you all very soon.
Thank you for listening to the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you want to know more about Meeples and Miniatures, there are several things you can do. First of all, you can visit the website at www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. If you want to contact the show at all, you can email me at neil@meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. You can follow the show on Twitter. Simply look for M&M Podcast or click the follow us on Twitter button from the website. We also have a group on Facebook. That's the Meeples and Miniatures Podcast Fan Club. Again, follow the link from the website. And finally, if you want to help us to support the show, you can always donate to the podcast by clicking the PayPal button on the donate page, again found on the website. Once again, thank you for listening. I hope you've really enjoyed the show. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.